Okay, I am very glad someone is looking at all of the waste. When we were talking about the budget deficit, we are in an existential crisis. Our national debt is over $36
billion. How do you feel about a unelected, non-confirmed one of the checks and balances of our nation?
Yes!
Great question, and I'm glad you asked it. Okay? Okay, I am very glad someone is looking at all of the waste.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay, good. Okay, so right now there is a bill in the House. It's for a budget, and I know you voted yes to it to get it out of committee. That budget bill includes a $4.5 trillion tax cut for the uber wealthy.
1%.
Cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, and other very important services that everyone in this room is relying on. All of the mega wealthy need tax cuts right now, including you. And are you willing to vote? Are you going to vote for this budget or against the budget?
Okay, so
And why? And why are you going to allow this budget to hurt everyone in this room?
Okay. Great question. So if you have read that the budget resolution that was passed in the House last week cuts Medicaid or SNAP, that is false.
880
Well, I'm
million.
sitting in the budget committee, I should know, okay? Okay, what we passed is reconciliation instructions that instruct each of the committees of the House to find savings within their areas of jurisdiction. So we issued instructions to the Committee on Agriculture, which oversees SNAP. We issued instructions to the Energy and Commerce Committee, on which I sit, which oversees Medicaid, but we did not tell them what to do. And as I said, we are convinced that there is so much bureaucracy, so many mistaken payments, so much waste, that we can make those modest reductions. And we're not talking about, I told you, 2.5% of federal spending. We're not talking about a huge reduction. We think we can make those modest reductions without touching the benefits for the people that actually rely on them.
What about
So let me answer the
regulations?
question about tax cuts, okay? We issued instructions to the Committee on Ways and Means to reauthorize what we call the TCJA, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, okay? Because if we don't reauthorize, this is not new tax cuts, this is just continuing the existing tax code that, absent action by Congress, will expire by the end of this year. If we do not reauthorize it, that will result in the largest tax increase on Americans in the history of our country.
Billionaires.
Okay,
To the billionaires.
and it will raise taxes on over 65% of American families.
Not if you tax the
So
wealthy.
will billionaires benefit? Yes, because they pay taxes too, but 65% of American families will see their taxes go up if we did not do that. The average American family,
Untrue.
the average American family will see their taxes go up by $1,700 a year if we fail back.
Tax the
So let's talk about
wealthy.
something else,
Make them
just
pay
because I
their
heard
share.
someone shout it out and you brought it up. Okay, folks, listen to me very carefully. We do not
Then
have a
stop
revenue
lying.
problem. We have a spending problem. Okay, we collected more tax revenue last year than any other year in the history of our country. We collected over 17% of GDP in federal tax revenue last year, which is way above our historical average. We do not have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And increasing taxes on working American families is not going to fix that problem.
Wealthy ones. The wealthy ones. Yeah.
Yes, sir, we're going to answer for you.
Hello. Can you hear me okay? Cool. So, in your December 30th newsletter, you supported retention and recruitment for staffing for the VA. Is that right, sir?
Absolutely.
So how do you square that with Trump's cuts to that staffing for the hiring freeze, voluntary resignations, and firing of probationary employees? My second question is...
This is like rubbing the lamp and wishing for more wishes, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're supposed
So-
to represent us.
So you're supporting it, you're doing a bill to balance the budget, yes?
To create a federal constitutional requirement that Congress balance the budget.
And what are the consequences of that if they don't pass the budget?
Ostensibly, the budget that they do pass could be invalidated by the courts.
But if it's not passed, if there's not a budget passed, would you support the consequences being that no one in Congress can run for office again? If not, why not?
Well, let me chew on that. First question first. Let's talk about the VA. Because the Secretary of the VA came out, I think it was just yesterday, and reassured people that no one is being laid off that will affect the health care for veterans.
The national
Okay,
affluent
let me tell you
prevention.
something. We fight every year to increase funding to the VA to make sure we're providing the health care to our veterans that we owe them.
Not
Okay,
this
think
year.
about how much better health care we could provide to them if we eliminated all the money that gets spent on the bureaucracy, all the money that gets spent on mistaken payments and all the waste and fraud and abuses
You
in the
mean
system.
oversight.
That is what we're trying to do, and that is going to be, unfortunately, a tumultuous process. But we're going to make sure that health care for our veterans is not affected in the meantime. So let me answer the second question. So we're talking about how we would balance the federal budget and the consequences if we don't, right? So I'll tell you what's in my legislation. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the tenure of members of Congress, but what it does do is it imposes a 5-year shot clock. In other words, Congress would have 5 years to get the budget balanced immediately, initially, because balancing it overnight would be very consequential, because our budget deficit right now is 7% of GDP, 7% of our economy, and that we don't want that big of a shock to the system. So Congress would have 5 years to do it, and after that, Congress would have to balance the budget every year, except if a 2/3 majority of both chambers and the president concurred that there was an economic emergency. So we built in those off-ramps in an effort to be thoughtful about it. So I hope that gives you some more clarity on what we're proposing to do. Thank you.
None at all.
Programs that needed to be scaled back or eliminated, and recommending those for it worked. By the end of 2 years, the federal budget was back into balance. So I say it worked then, it can work now. I had 19 co-sponsors on that legislation last year, and this year I think we're going to get it done. Another thing I want to talk about is our wildfire protection. This is something I think, living in a rural area of California, we all know how vulnerable the wildfires can be on. And the recent experience with the Line Fire, the Palisades Fire, and the Eaton fires, I think, should drive home the fact that we need to be prepared for these wildfires, and we need to do a better job. We need to do a better job at managing our national forests. So we in Congress, just 2 weeks ago, passed a bill called the Fix Our Forests Act, which will streamline permitting for projects like fuel production, streamline permitting for the construction of fire breaks and access roads. Those are the tools that we need to control this problem. So I can tell you, the Line Fire last year was coming up exactly the same fire track as the old fire was 20 years ago, the San Bernardino National Forest. And I got a call in the middle of September from the incident commander. I was getting daily updates on that fire. And I got a call and he said, Jay, I think we're going to lose 1,000 homes in Running Springs tonight. Because that's exactly what the old fire had done on that track. But fortunately, that was the night that they were able to turn the tide and start to contain that fire. And the only reason that they were able to do it is they contained it in an area that we had thinned over the last 10 years. They stopped it at a fire break we had constructed, and they were able to stop it with equipment moved on access roads that we had built. So we need to do a better job managing our national forests. So the Fix Our Forests Act is authored by a good friend of mine, Bruce Westerman. He's actually
can't do that if you fire everybody.
Very fortunate to have him in Congress. And I was able to get a couple of amendments added to the Fix Our Forests Act, which I'm very proud of. I think that we can use technology, things like low Earth orbit satellites and artificial intelligence to help us fight these fires. And so I created a pilot program that will combine the from low Earth orbit satellites and AI that can detect right when a fire starts. It can distinguish between a campfire and a tree that's been ignited by lightning, and dispatch fast aerial firefighting resources, aircraft now, and drones in the future that will put that fire out while it's still small enough to be put out from the air. If we can get these fires stopped before they stop the spread, I think that we're going to be able to contain these fires and avoid the kind of damage that we've
what we care
So we're
about.
going to keep working on that.
Get to what we care about.
Is our obligation to our veterans. So our commercial district is very unique. We have 5 major military installations and over 40,000 veterans. And so I have been committed to making sure we fight for the people talk.
Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk. Let the people talk.
All right, hey, listen, folks. Again, Curtis Yakimo, Town Manager for the Town of Yucca Valley. This is the Yucca Valley Community Space.
Yeah.
It is your space, the taxpayer.
Damn right it is. Damn right it's our space.
You have the ability to do this. What we would ask on behalf of everybody is to allow for the conversation so that people can actually hear what's being said.
Conversations are 2 ways.
Stuff we want.
So with that, Congressman, I'll turn it back to you. We would just ask for people.
All right, so I'll tell you what. Okay? I'm going to finish talking about our commitment to our veterans. And then we're going to go to Q&A. Is that work for you? Okay? Does that work for everyone? Okay, so we have 5 major military installations, including 29 homes nearby, but 5 military installations in this congressional district, over 40,000 veterans.
You have Republicans now saying that what's happening is too much. This is the point I've been trying to make for a long time. Because initially, I noticed a lot of the rhetoric was, oh, we won, we stuck it to the libs, own the libs. And I said, guys, stop looking left and right, start looking up and down. And to see the town hall meetings now across the country where Republican voters are like, what's happening? What's going on? I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they're starting to see it. And then to see some of the farthest right Republican conservative commentators, even some Republican senators and congressmen and women, I'm like, huh, okay, maybe they're seeing it. Maybe they're seeing it because they're like, oh, we don't recognize our own party anymore. You know what'll really convince us, though, that you're starting to see it? If you start to vote against the things that are destroying our democracy, right? Because a lot of words can be said. A lot of people can come out and say, hey, I don't agree with this. This is not what I voted for. My cost of groceries has not decreased. Neither too has my egg cost. Neither too has my gas cost. Nor has the cost of housing and living at all. But the best evidence of a changed heart and a changed mind is a change in action. So how about, if you really mean it, we start to see some votes that are indicative of the fact that you've actually had a new realization about what's going on and that you're no longer looking left and right, but you're looking up and down. Some votes in the Senate, in Congress, and by us, the people, when it comes to the midterms, when it comes to the various seats up for election soon. Let's see some votes. Let's see some votes.
You there, what's your question?
Why are you letting Elon Musk trample over our stuff?
Do you even know what you're
about
doing?
women's voting rights with their married husbands? Medicaid and Medicare?
Right. Well, if redfish, bluefish, greenfish, yellowfish went to the market on April 45th, would that solve our problem?
You need to leave!
Do you even
know can you what you're doing? Unelect Elon Musk? Thank
so,
you.
I've talked to the president. We're in great hands. We're cutting everything.
Yeah, what does that entail? Fired?
It's gonna save us at least $1.
What does this mean for my benefits? You need to talk to
Well,
someone.
if we're gonna yell, it's okay. We don't have to have the conversation. We can postpone this if we want to have a conversation, but we're not yelling today.
Get off the stage!
What
What talking about?
Go talk to Elon Musk.
Real quick, because I don't have a lot of time, okay? I just want to say to my white brothers and sisters that's going to them town hall meetings and speaking it with your chest, standing on business, ask the questions, get outraged, do all of that. We see y'all doing exactly what y'all supposed to be doing. And for those of you who don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. What should we do? What could we do? Look at Bernie Sanders. That man is old as hell, but from the day he was a teenager, he been fighting. He been there. He been showing up everywhere. Be like Bernie. Okay? Fight the good fight. We still here, but this ain't for us. As you can see, I'm resting. Y'all, do what you gotta do. Today, right now, is the time.